Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be having obviously a little bit of a different video. Today we're going to be talking about installing your buffer extension tube, your rear takedown pin detent, your castle nut, your buffer retainer spring. This is kind of like an all-in-one thing. You kind of have to do it all in one. So fortunately, I can't break them up into separate items just to break it down. But if you're doing this one item, you kind of gonna have to do them all. So this is just that overall installation video. But before I begin, I'd like to say a big thank you out to everyone who has liked, commented, and subscribed on the previous videos. I always appreciate it and always enjoy talking to you guys. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you enjoyed this video, enjoy this type of content, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. With the PR out the way, let's get into it. So as I was saying, we're kind of doing like all in one because you kind of have to do it all in one. And this video is a small video and part of a larger series of making the honey badger at home. I have my PSR clear anodized lower here that I'm using, and basically again making that honey badger at home with certain design aesthetics. I have my right here. I have my K1 Castle Nut by Fortis Manufacturing. My Victor Industries G2 heavy duty buffer retainer. My this is a Armaspec, their braided buffer wire here. Fortis Manufacturing, case hardened rear takedown pin. Griffin Armament, SOB, suppressor enhanced buffer. And then a bad attitude department clear anodized extension buffer extension tube. So again, all these pieces here kind of have to be done at once because there's certain springs and things like that that you have to do here. So hopefully I do a pretty good job. Also, all your parts should be oiled ever so slightly. I like to use Gun Lube Slip 2000 to kind of get this train rolling. So first thing I like to do, take your G2, take your enhanced. There's a couple springs in your lower spring kit. This one's the only one that truly fits here. Take a little bit of your oil, put on that spring. Since again, this is probably going to be the first and last time any of these parts really see any type of oil. So it's always good just to have everything kind of lubricated up. You can always wipe off the excess, but it helps these parts kind of mate, as there's always clearances and there's machining tolerances, and some parts do require a bit of mating. So there's a little hole in here. You just want to stick that spring down there. And then for the G2 here, we're just going to orient it. Obviously, I know the camera can't see it, right? But we're just installing that into the hole in your rear, your low receiver. Next thing we're going to do is there is a couple of these little springs. They are different from, let's see here. So the other little spring is for your front detent, and that thicker spring is for your safety detent, for your safety selector. But you can take one of these tight wound springs here. Again, I already have a little bit of oil on my fingers here. Just gonna kind of maybe put like a little bit extra, ever so slightly. And then we're gonna put it in that rear hole right there. But yep, just make sure that that's the correct one. Cool. And there's a little buffer detent, takedown detent here. So that goes in the hole first. This follows. Push it in just a little bit. Take your rear takedown pin, oil it up again, and you're just gonna slide it in through this side. So the larger end is gonna go on the opposite side, and on the side where your magazine your bolt release is going to be the non-mushroomed end. You'll see there's two holes in there. So once you slide it in, cool, and then you're gonna push in that spring there, and just make sure it locks in, rotates. You'll feel it kind of click into place, and then you are set. So pretty much good there. Make sure the spring doesn't go flying into oblivion. Then you're going to take your end plate here, and your end plate's going to essentially butt up against that. You want to be careful because you don't want the spring to fly off. Now, this being the K1 by Fortis, it has a taper design, as you see here, so it kind of pulls it in. Generally speaking, you want the thread pitch. Boy, I'm just having geeky nerd moments left and right. You want the torque specs to be around 40 foot-pounds. So some people say 40 inch-pounds. 40 inch-pounds makes no sense because 40 inch-pounds is what your castle nut. Gosh, your gas key torque specs are, and 40 inch-pounds would be nothing. So 40 foot-pounds is what they recommend. But with this Fortis, being a different design. They only recommend 20. I'm going to do 25 because I just like a little bit extra. But torque specs are there for a reason, even though I realize I'm breaking it. And then you want one of your armorer's wrenches, this one with a spanner on the end, a hook spanner that you can basically torque around. So you want to take your buffer extension tube here, take your castle nut with the castle part facing the opposite direction. We're going to thread that on there. Thread it all the way to the very end. Cool. Until it stops. Take your end plate. You'll see there's an actual little keyway in there. And then there's a keyway on the bottom of the buffer tube. And there's of course going to mate. And then there's a little plug in there. That's going to go to the opposite end. Cool. So now we're butted up. So right there, guys, the camera always decides it wants to act up whenever it's on the bench. Okay, so as we have it lined up here, we have the keyway for the end plate here. You want to make sure you don't mushroom this out, but it's kind of a little bit balancing act, right? So we got to thread in here lower a bit. And what you're going to want to do is, I'm trying to get all the angles here, guys, trying to make sure I'm being as helpful as possible. Take this off here. What you're going to do is, as you're threading this in, let's see, it's going to essentially need to be right on the edge of that lip there. So as you're threading this tube in, you want it to basically just catch right on the edge of that lip. So probably one more full rotation. And you see there, it's catching right on the edge of that lip. It can't really go any farther, and it's at the 9 o'clock position. So if you want to go farther, you really couldn't. Because again, it's already decided to be locked down into its place. So we have this castle nut backed all the way back. Here. We have our end plate here. We could try to go one more full rotation, but you actually see it'll extend out past. So you want to make sure you don't do that. So it's caught right there. Pretty good. And now the fun part. So take this spring, take your end plate. You have to kind of weasel it in there. And then, come on. Push the side just a little bit. So we're just going to weasel that in there. Take a flathead, take something that you can use to press it down, something that's even better, like a tool that's made for it, right? Good little screwdriver. Push that down. Get it nice and lined up, and as you see there, got it nice and squared. Push it all the way down. The end plate or your castle nut in there. Give it just an initial tighten. And there you go. A little bit tricky, right? So as we're here, just going to make sure that before we start really going hog wild with it, make sure our buffer retainer is in the correct position, which is catching right there on the edge. So that's cool there. Yep. Just making sure. Yep, we're good there. Cool. Still calling that lip. And now we're going to take the spanner portion, hook on the edge here. And then we're going to take a torque wrench here, which I like using a digital torque wrench. And you see we're going to set that to 25 foot-pounds. Trust me, guys, this is a lot harder to do on camera. Usually you'd be done by now. But I know there's a lot of videos out here, but my channel, so I want to make sure I have a full encompassing library. So now we're going to torque this to 5, as they say. Slips off like that, because that's always fun. I'm trying to go the opposite route here. Try to get a different angle of attack. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's hard to do this on camera, but then again, these are kind of always tricky to do. Okay. Now we're nice and locked in there. Thoughts? Come on. Nice and straight. You see there, we're nice and torqued down. Always nice to check your torque twice here, just because it was acting kind of weird on trying to get this on camera. And so I'm make sure my gun's always going to work, right? Okay, cool. Nice and torqued. One thing about this K1, as you're seeing, is it is a little bit tricky to get that wrench on there with the whole finish and just how it's kind of, has these little lips here. But other than that, no harm, no foul. Nothing marred. Is now nice and tight. And now you can install your buffer spring. Again, same philosophy, right? You probably want to just put like a little bit of oil on every little bit. You can. Considering it'll probably be the first and last time that it ever sees oil. Put a little bit inside your buffer tube. You're gonna slide that in. Sure that's squared. Take your buffer here. Again, another like little light coat of oil. Especially being a hydraulic buffer, I want just to be able to move nice and freely. Some people say this is going to capture just more dust, dirt, and grime. I say do whatever you like on your own gun, but I like just having like that slightest little coat of oil on everything. Okay. Install that. Install that over. Zoom out here. Okay. Okay. Hold on the lip there. Nice and straightforward. Hydraulic action is working. It's not binding up on this edge here. And then we're just going to run it, drive it home. That's heavy duty. There you go. Now your buffer is fully captured. Castellite is installed. You see there. And you can see what I'm talking about, how that Victor heavy duty buffer retainer kind of acts. Just really, you can feel it's extremely sturdy and keeping itself situated. Get your Castellite installed, and let's see if the takedown pin works. As it's very tight, takedown pin is working, and yeah, buffer retainer is installed. The Castellite's installed. Everything is working. So, guys, sorry for the kind of long-winded video, but you were seeing all the kind of blunders, everything that you'll probably go through as well. But that is how you install your rear takedown pin, your castle nut, your end plate, your buffer tube, and your buffer extension, and your buffer retainer. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it helpful. If you did, please let me know down below in the comments. I love to hear it. Appreciate all you guys for watching this long. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. Hope everyone's having a wonderful, awesome, fantastic day, and I'll catch you guys next time. See you guys.